So we're live. Welcome everyone to Bridging Energy Innovation, Japan and Israel. My name is Cody. I'm one of the co-founders of Ignite the Spark. First, I would like to thank everyone from all over the world who has joined this call today. We'll be sharing afterwards with you kind of the map of everyone that is registered from all over the world. We range from Japan to Australia to China to Israel, all through Europe, all the way through the western seaboard of the US. So we have people from all over the world interested in energy innovation. This is what excites me. In today's event, we're going to be talking just exactly how innovation between Japan and Israel can be the focal point of these two communities, and energy being that community. With Ignite the Spark is a grassroots organization that was founded almost over 2 years ago. With Ignite the Spark, we found the need to get everyone together, get everyone in the same room, start this dialogue. What is energy tech? Is it part of clean tech? Is it not part of clean tech? Is it part of climate tech? There's a lot of information. We found that we needed to make sure that energy was a focal point of having clean, renewable energy and green resources. At the end of the day, we hit COVID-19. Most of our events were online. We do most of our growth through domestic partnerships and international partnerships. And so that means you have to get people in a room. What happened today is something beautiful. We basically found our sister in Energy Tech Meetup. They're based in Tokyo. They're another community, very similar. Their vision is to provide a community for sustainable energy innovation worldwide. They have other communities that are based worldwide as well, but we partnered with their Tokyo just so we could talk about Japan and Israel in this. And this is something that I find extremely important in today's world. Traveling is extremely difficult. We have come to understand that. COVID-19 is something that's here to stay. Climate change will still be here afterwards. Sure, there could be a vaccination. We don't know what changes will happen. COVID will be here for some time. We don't know. And then climate change will continue going and happening. So that's enough really about us. I think what I want you to really take from me is that you look at it from this perspective. You find a community, you find people abroad, you make connections, whether it be via LinkedIn, other communities, and you're able to connect with one another. So with that being said, I would like to introduce the Economic Trade Mission to Japan, the Israel attaché, Daniel Kolbar, to come up and share his screen. Daniel, if you're here with us, so just give us one moment as we have Daniel come up right now. Thank you, Daniel. I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, so thank you, Cody. Thank you, Eshel and Ignite the Spark for igniting the spark here with this event. Congratulations, and the Energy Tech Meetup. It's a good initiatives. Any initiatives to promote cooperation between Israel and Japan, especially in the field of innovation, is very welcome. So I want to give you a kol hakavod, as we say in Hebrew, for this first event, and let it be one of many events. So, as Cody mentioned, I had the Economic and Trade Mission of Israel in Japan. So just a few words about us. We are part of the Embassy of Israel in Japan, based here in Tokyo, and also we have an office in Osaka. We are part of the Foreign Trade Administration, so that means it's a network of about 45 offices worldwide, based in the commercial capitals. And we are here exactly to connect Israeli companies, Israeli innovation, to the local markets where we operate. So we're doing that with the team here. And I have actually arrived last month. And before me, Noah Asher was working very hard, getting great results with the team when we're looking at continuing the good momentum between Israel and Japan. Most of you probably know Israel has a lot to offer in terms of innovation. And the exciting thing is that it's across a lot of sectors, a lot of verticals, and energy is definitely one of them, with over 100 startups related to energy, and specifically sort of energy, renewable energy, and distribution, off-grid storage, exactly those ideas that are going to help countries like Israel, like Japan, to achieve sustainable energy goals. And we've heard from Prime Minister Suga just recently to striving to achieve a net carbon neutral emissions by 2050. So let's all try to work together to get this goal. So without further ado, I want to wish you all much success in this event that I'm sure it's going to be very interesting. And I'd like to invite everyone who's with us today to feel free to connect with us, as we are here exactly to help create those contacts and help ignite the spark with this goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your time, and good luck in your tenure. I know that you're relatively new, and this is obviously a challenging time to make that transition, so I wish you the best of luck. We've had the fortunate pleasure in recent times in pairing up in multiple events with Startup Nation Central. And we can send this to everyone afterwards. We have an energy tech landscape map of the Israeli ecosystem, which is the first time that we've had a fully comprehensive map. We had a launch event earlier in September. We can make the map available for you. It's on our website, and we can give you the link to that as well. It's also on Startup Nation Central's website. I would like to invite up from Startup Nation Central the SVP of BizDev, Mr. Jeremy Klutzkine, to come up and share his screen and share a few words.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Cody, for this introduction. And you're right, we've been partnering a lot with Ignite the Spark over the couple of, 2 years already, something like that. And it was quite successful. We're very happy with that. And as Daniel said, it's not one yet another sector. We're talking about one of the fastest growing ecosystem in Israel today. Energy tech is really in good as a good vibe right now. We at Startup Nation Central are a non-profit. We have over 70 employees today on staff, and we are mapping the Israeli ecosystem in Israel. So we're producing landscapes, but also reports, and we have this online database called the Startup Nation Finder. Beyond that, we also help large corporates around the world to navigate and to engage with Israeli ecosystem of innovation. Japan has the highest density of large corporates in the world. 50 out of the top 500 companies, 10% are Japanese in the world. So that's why I've been in Japan, visited like 5 times over the last 2-3 years. So a lot. And I was supposed to be in Japan again in September. So that's just in a nutshell what we do. So enjoy the event today. Thanks for your time. And don't hesitate to reach out to any of us. Thank you.
As I come back on, Jeremy, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I actually pulled up the map just so we could get a quick glimpse of it, just so you can all see of kind of what we did with this. So it's fully interactive. It's the most comprehensive ecosystem map that Israel's put out for energy tech. I would say it's one of the better ones that Startup Nation Central's ever done. We've utilized their team. We couldn't be more grateful for their entire staff that they've put in. We've broken it down into different portions and consumers. storage, off-grid, generation, transmission, and distribution. And it's fully clickable and accessible, which is nice. If you click on a specific company, it will send you to their Startup Nation Finder profile, as well as you can see the different icons there. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Zev Weiss. He is from the Israel-Japan Friendship Society and Chamber of Commerce, as well as Weiss, Boratz, and Co. law offices. I would like Zev to come up and request to share his audio video and share a few minutes of his time. Maybe while we wait, if he's having some technical difficulties, we could ask Dan Schulman of Schulman Advisories to come up and fill in right here. So Dan, I'm going to pull you up right here and have you go. So go right ahead, Dan. You should be coming up in just 1 second. Thank you for hopping in. I appreciate it.
Hi, thank you, Kobe. And thank you to everyone from both groups making this event possible. My company, Schulman Advisory, is an energy markets consultancy based in Tokyo. I have a team of about 10, and we serve as the eyes, ears, and boots on the ground of energy and energy tech companies from around the world here in Japan. To help them be successful in this challenging market, but a market that's full of opportunities. About a year ago, the level of collaboration between Japan and Israel reached an incredible level, but energy technology was still not getting enough attention. So I'm just really delighted to finally see a collaborative relationship taking place between the two ecosystems. Thanks a lot.
So I'm going to hop back in. And Dan, I appreciate it. And also, you gave that talk on the 20th. We will make in the event chat the recording of the kind of overlay that you gave, or overview, excuse me, the overview of the entire sector. So I'm going to see if we can maybe get Zev back on. If not, if he's having some technical difficulties, then what I would like to maybe do is have Amanda come up on screen to kind of talk a little bit more about ETM, as well as and what they do, and then also introduce all the panelists.
Hi, Cody. Thank you. Can you hear me well? I think it should be fine. So hi, everyone. I'm Amanda.
Hey, you're all good, by the way. You're all good. We can hear you fine.
Okay, good. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm Amanda from Energy Tech Meetup, or ETM. I'm one of the co-founders. And yeah, I'd first like to just say thank you to Ignite the Spark and all the speakers and panelists and startups that are speaking today. And we're very, very, very happy to collaborate with Ignite the Spark on this event. And just a bit more about Energy Tech Meetup. So ETM's mission is basically to support and accelerate energy innovation. And we try to do this through local communities. So local means we have local communities with a local focus and networking, but also with kind of global awareness and connectivity. And we do this by having communities both in Tokyo. So we started in Tokyo, but also we also have communities in Vienna and in Berlin and in Amsterdam. So yeah, and we're looking to grow as well. So if you're interested, please let me know. And I also shared our Facebook in the group, in the kind of event chat, if you're interested to follow us there. We also have LinkedIn and Pinterest. And so the panel discussion today really is at the core of what ETM is trying to do, which is highlight how we can accelerate innovation through collaboration and especially diversity. So bringing different kinds of people and different kinds of expertise and different nationalities and countries together. So let's jump straight into the panel discussion. Can I ask all the panelists to share their video and audio? Hi, everyone. So yeah, let's hello?
Hello.
Good. So first of all, I'd like to just briefly introduce the panelists we have here today. We have Dia. Dia has worked with enterprise solutions at Ormax, a clean energy firm, and also previously at GE with startups to integrate their solutions with GE's IIoT platforms. And now he serves as CTO of Sampo's digital lab in Tel Aviv. We have Hiroyoshi Iwata. Iwata-san has worked for a Japanese plant engineering and construction company, and now he is a VC in Global Brain in Japan, in charge of startup investments in energy and environment fields. He is actually also the head of Japanese communications of Energy Tech Meetup, so it's nice to see someone from our community on the panel. We also have, last but not least, Mitsuaki Yasuoka-san. Yasuoka-san is a senior manager of overseas business development at TEPCO Tokyo Electric Power Company, Power Grid, or TEPCO PG. He also operates Green Tech Labs, which basically aims to accelerate collaboration and increase startups to change the energy sector in Japan specifically. So a warm welcome to everyone. I'd like to start off with Tia. So could you please introduce yourself and your work at Sampo Digital Lab, and how does energy come into this picture?
Sure, thank you. I'm really honored to be here. So as Amanda said, I'm now acting as the CTO of Sampo's Digital Lab in Tel Aviv. And for those of you who don't know, those of you who are not Japanese, so Sampo is a global Japanese global insurance company with 30 plus countries in presence. Major subsidiaries outside of Japan are in the US, Brazil, Turkey, UK, and many countries in Southeast Asia. And it covers all the major insurance products that you can think of. Our lab, together with two other labs, one in Tokyo and one in Silicon Valley, our main goal is, we have actually two main goals. Is first to bring innovation internally into the insurance processes, serving our business units, and to deliver better experience for our customers, and to improve the efficiencies of the insurance processes. But also, and maybe more importantly, is to create a new business for Sampo. As our CEO, Group CEO Sakurada-san said, we want people to think that Sampo used to be an insurance company, and it's all under the mission statement of safety, security, and health for our customers. So how does energy come into this picture? What does insurance has to do with energy? Of course, many of our customers are actually energy providers. And it also includes, of course, renewable energy. And besides ensuring the property of these customers, we want to add more value. We want to give them added value on top of the insurance. We don't just want to be there when something happens, when the insured event happens. We want to be with them along the way before that happens, and be in touch with them, offering additional services. And these additional services usually can come or could be achieved by a collaboration with startups that can provide these added values to these customers. For example, for solar panel, energy utilities, we can provide maybe optimization solutions for their solar panels, and as an added service or a bundled service for the insurance of the property itself. So this is just an example. Another thing that we are engaged in is called corporate social responsibility, CSR. That means that we want to have a more resilient society in Japan in cases of blackouts. In the past year alone, 400,000 homes or households suffers from blackouts due to typhoons. And you know, Japan is a country challenged by natural catastrophes. And we want to be with our customers, not just covering them with damage for the roof going away or the car being submerged, but we want to give them maybe the comfort of having an additional auxiliary power, utilizing EVs or their solar panels on top. You know, assuming the roof is still there. We want to give them this service by collaborating with startups that can provide the management system for this new kind of energy utilization.
Thank you. I'd definitely like to get back to how startups can get more involved in energy innovation in both countries. But before getting more deeper into that, I'd like to also say to anyone who has questions for the panelists, please do write them in the chat and I'll pick them up from there. And yeah, so now I'd like to move to Iwata-san. So could you please introduce yourself and Global Brain? And also, Global Brain has recently accelerated and expanded its focus on energy. So can you also let us know what is so interesting about this at Global Brain?
Sure. Thank you for introduction, Amanda, and so many times I see you. So, this is Hiroyoshi Iwata of Global Brain. And let me introduce myself briefly. So I had worked for the largest steel company in Japan, Nippon Steel. The Japanese name is Shinitesu, and I did some kinds of R&D and business development of renewable energy, biofuels, and also local grid system or other kinds of. Nippon Steel was the PPS power producer, and also So then I joined in Global Brain, and I'm a venture capitalist in charge of the energy and the environment sectors. And also, let me introduce Global Brain. Global Brain is I think one of the most active VCs. In Japan at this moment. So we have over 70 members, and also we have invested in several countries. So we have the branch offices in, of course, the headquarters is in Shibuya, Tokyo, but we have the branch offices in the US, UK, Korea, Singapore, and Indonesia, and we are going to India, China, or other countries. So we have invested in some Israeli startups from the UK offices, especially AI, fintech, cybersecurity, or other customers. But we are searching for the possibilities to invest in brilliant energy tech startup in Israel. And our current AUM is $1.5 billion, and track records IPO over 20 or under nearly 50. And also, our feature is to deploy two kinds of funds. One is pure investment fund, and this fund is to seek the financial return. And usually, we invest Japanese startups around 60%, and outside Japan 30 or 40%, including Israel. And also, we have 7
I'm sorry, Iwata-san, you got disconnected. Okay. You got disconnected for a while there. Okay, you're back.
Is it okay, Amanda?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. Let me continue. And so your question is why Global Brain focused on energy sector, right?
And why has it recently been accelerated, like focus on energy?
So one is Global Brain has been searching for the chances to invest in Japanese energy techs, but this section
Sorry, Iwata-san, you're kind of breaking up again. So maybe.
For the knowledge.
Sorry. Iwata-san, you're breaking up again. So maybe we can, if you try turning off your video, maybe the Wi-Fi is a bit faster. Is that better? Okay. Maybe let's move on to Yasuoka-san, and maybe Iwata-san can fix the issue.
Let's do so. Oh, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So can you please introduce yourself and your work at TEPCO Hybrid as well as Green Tech Labs?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much for having me here. So my name is Mitsuaki Yasuoka, Senior Manager of Global Business Team in TEPCO Hybrid. TEPCO, for those of you who don't know, TEPCO is a Tokyo electric power company, which used to be a vertically integrated electric utility. And currently, this year, electric system reform has been performed, and the transmission and distribution body was legally unbundled. So our company, TEPCO Power Grid sector is only regulated country. This is the current situation in Japan. And I also operate the Green Tech Labs, which is a community, community activity in the energy and the environmental sector. And so the reason why I operate this community is that the energy sector is very, traditionally energy sector is very conservative, and the information is close to the large corporations, and the information liquidity is not very good. So that is why I wanted to reach out to a very passionate person in large corporations as well as the startups or startups in Japan, and just like to connect the passionate person to each other, and just like to create some innovative things like like to build a very innovative project. So we have hosted many events like the Just a Drink Party or a business creation workshop, and we recently started the interview series and reaching out to a very passionate person in a large corporation or startups, and I write an article, and after writing an article, I invite them to our Slack community, and we are having a very intensive discussion on the recent market trends or potential business opportunities and so on. So this is a part of the activity we are doing. And I think Green Tech Lab is a very good entry point if you are trying to get into the Japanese market, because we have a lot of passionate persons across energy and environmental sectors. And the number of passionate people are increasing because I reach out to the passionate person in a certain company once in 2 or 3 weeks. So the number of people are expanding. So so that is why, yeah, I would like to collaborate. I'd like to use the Green Tech Labs to accelerate the cooperation with very innovative people in Israel. Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we got Iwata-san back. Good. So I guess my next question is very related as well and interlinked with the question we got on the stage from the audience. So Max asked, I would like to ask about the deal flow with VCs and how do renewable startups and interested VCs find each other in this market and space. And I think this is related to my own question as well of how you, as panelists both in Japan and Israel, think that Israel and Japan can collaborate more in terms of energy innovation, and how can we kind of, in a concrete way, enable startup and VC exchange between Japan and Israel. So maybe we can start with Dia. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah. So, maybe I failed to mention before, but, we scout for solutions in many domains. based on requests coming from business units, but also our own initiatives, and also actually requests coming from our big customers like NTT, Hitachi, Toyota, you name it. One of the recent call for information that we published was with NTT, asking for startups to submit information and come to meet us to explore ways to collaborate. So I think the level of collaboration depends really on the need and where it comes from. But we seek to first build a very strong business connection if the technology fits the need, and then we can also invest. We act as an investment arm. We invest directly from balance sheet or from one of our corporate funds. So I think we've done so before. We're doing this today. We invested in startups. We invested in funds, and I think many of the startups out there already know that we exist, and they approach us even without us asking them to do so. And the synergies can be, as I said, it can be with needs coming from the business unit. If it's commercial underwriting, if it's risk engineering, to improve our processes, but also to automate processes. I can give you an example. One of the things that we wanted to do is how to extract the appliances that office building has, the electrical appliances, only by reading the smart meter data, without even asking the client what kind of appliances does he have. This is a huge contribution to to save time and have a better underwriting process. This is just one example. Another example is how, as I said before.
I'm sorry, Diajud. Sorry, just due to lack of time, I'd like to ask the next question in the chat. But that's really interesting, and I think the example of the startup is very related to the next question we have from the audience, which is kind of asking, what role do small-scale startups and service providers play in supporting energy systems? Because energy can feel like a very complex and highly regulated area, both in Israel and in Japan. So I'd like to kind of direct this question to start off with Iwata-san. First, how do you think that startups can play a bigger role in the energy sector, both in Japan, and then what kind of startups really do you think you're looking for as a VC with that in mind?
Yeah, I think so. If there is a startup want to come to Japanese market, so it's better to make a POC or a proof of concept with Japanese utility companies. So like the company of Yasuoka-san, for example. So then, the utility company needs the traction or the records of that kind of stuff. So it's better to make a connection with them. And also, I think it's a little bit difficult for foreign startups to come to Japanese market. But I think it's better to make contact with Japanese utility companies and or other kinds of energy companies. So then, they can, possibly make the chances for them. And for BC, from the point of view of BC, so Israeli energy techs are very interesting. And also, so for example, there are not so many innovative energy techs in Japanese market because the regulation is quite specific, and also not so many entrepreneurs in these fields are doing activities. So then, our Japanese BCs and also many CBCs or Japanese big companies are searching for the brilliant clean tech or energy tech startups. So then, if you want to come to Japanese market, so it's very easy to find many contacts.
Thank you. And you brilliantly opened up my question for Yasuoka-san, which is, how is a big utility like TEPCO collaborating with startups? And if, for example, say I have a startup, how should I get in touch with you? And what kind of startups are you looking for at TEPCO?
Yep. I think most of the large corporations say that they are committed to the innovations and they'd like to collaborate with startups. And most of the cases they have their own innovation vehicle, GVC or innovation vehicle that is dedicated to their partnering with startups or investing in startups. So I think that is the first entry point to contact. And it may be related to the previous question that the energy system in Japan is so complicated and regulatory system is so complex. So even for Japanese energy people, it is very difficult to understand the whole picture of the energy system. So I think the good approach is first try to get the basic market information by contacting the person who is very knowledgeable about the market structure and the regulatory framework. And if the startups from the other country, startups from the other countries, try to reach out to the innovation team in Japan, and they are not really and they don't really understand the market structure at all. The initial meeting, I saw a lot of cases that the initial meeting was failure because of the lack of understanding of the market structure and the solutions. So anybody thought that the matching will work. So I think the Green Tech Labs can work in order to help such misunderstanding or the deepening the understanding of the market structure and regulatory schemes. So yeah, please reach out to me if you're interested in any part of the energy market in Japan. I'd be happy to help to understand and help and enter into the Japanese market.
Thank you so much, Yasoka-san and Dia and Iwata-san, who I believe we lost. But it was really a pleasure having this discussion with you. And I'm sorry I have to cut it now because we need to move on to the startup pitches. But yeah, if anyone is interested in Sample or Green Tech Labs or also TEPCO, please reach out to the panelists. And I believe someone also asked for the links to Green Tech Labs in the stage chat. So please feel free to
correct.
paste
So that's Amanda, thank you so much for your moderation. Gentlemen, thank you much for the candor. I really do appreciate it. In terms of the platform, there's just a few things I'm going to go over. If you go all the way right to where it says people, you could find everyone and you could start those conversations right now as you're still live here in the stage. Most people, we asked that most people had joined with their LinkedIn, so you'll have their LinkedIn. You could ask them questions, panelists, start the conversation ahead of time. Get to know individuals, reach out to them. This platform, just so you know, will stay open for another 2 days and 23 hours. Even though this event and the networking is only a allotted amount of time, the platform as a whole does not close. We want you to do your due diligence and stay on this platform. Later on, after we have our 4 amazing startups, which you're about to hear from pitch, we're going to do face-to-face networking, which is randomized networking, which I'll come back and tell you more about. And then there's also expo booths. There's still so much more about this platform for you. But I get the pleasure of introducing my co-founder. It's usually one of us on stage, and so we never get the opportunity to introduce one another. So it's a bit strange, but it's an honor to introduce my co-founder, Eshel Lippman. And he's going to be taking over this little portion right now of talking about the startups and introducing each of them.
Hey, Cody, I hope you can hear me. Hey, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And
we're all good, buddy. There you go.
It's amazing to have this opportunity to be with you. So without further ado, I would like to bring our first speaker, Doron Tamir from Luminescent. If you can share audio and video and perhaps even your screen, that would be amazing. Hi, Doron. For you, it's still good morning.
Yeah. Good morning to everyone. And we go straight to the presentation. Everyone see it?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So good morning and a great event. Thank you, Esho. I'm the co-founder of Luminescent Solar Power. And actually, we are producing a new solar energy technology. We are aiming for 4 cents per kilowatt and to work 24/7 all year long. And we are early seed, or we are an early stage company, a deep tech company. We are after 4 years of R&D. So let's begin. So actually, when we are developing new technology or new energy technology, you need 3 parameters. It have to be on demand. So the days when the sun is blowing and the sun is shining and the wind is blowing is over, you need to supply 24/7. You have to be low cost, which means lower than coal and gas, and you have to be green. So actually, today we have 2 existing solar technology. The one is using the light to produce energy, which is the solar PV that everyone know. Amazing technology, very simple, very cheap, but with 3 weak points. The first one, it's only 20% efficiency, which means all the rest of the 80% goes to waste, just to heat the air. The second one, that if you need baseload, you need lithium ion, and they are expensive despite the fact that the price decreasing. And you're solving one problem, but then you make another problem because the lithium ion, it's very bad for the environmental issues. And the third one, in cloud, when you have cloudy days or cloudy weeks, you need peakers or gas peakers as a backup. So actually, in the end of the day, it's very costly. So on the other side, we have the CSP, which use heat to produce electricity, but actually it's almost a dead technology. And the only advantage that they have a thermal storage, which is a very simple one storage. So what we're doing in Luminescent, actually we do a combination. We do the PV, so we have the 20% of the PV, but on the same time, we take the 80% that go to waste, and from this 80%, we're producing also electricity, so we have another 20%. So in the end of the day, we have 40% efficiency, double than PV. On the same time, we can use any kind of storage. We can use thermal storage, that's what we're using today, or we can use lithium ion in case the lithium ion will be cheap enough. And the last issue, because we're using heat to produce electricity, we have heat engine in our system. So we already done the capex of heat engine. So in case of cloudy days, we can be our own peakers, which is very, very important. So actually, in cloudy days, cloudy weeks, we can use natural gas or later on green hydrogen, and then we can work 24/7 all year long. So actually, we solve all the 3 weak points of PV, and this is Luminescent. So we are simple as PV. So actually, we know to be very, very simple, and that's what the market look for. Our project is building for 4 components. The first one, it's our receiver. It's innovation receiver. We have some patents on it. And actually, most of the components of this receiver are coming from Japan. And the second component, it's the heliostat. We just fit in a heliostat to our needs. And then we have a game changer heat engine. This heat engine is a very small one. It's less than 1 megawatt. It's very efficient, 40% efficient, and it's very low cost. This enables us to go to very low LCOE. Okay, and the storage, as I mentioned, we can use any kind of storage. So just quick summary, we are double the efficiencies in PV. We have a small heat engine, very low cost, very efficient. We have a very high field efficiency, which is double than CSP. We know to work between 6,000 to 7,000 hours just from the sun. And we can work fully hybrid with no need to extra capex. So this is how our project look like. It's very similar to CSP, but totally different. Every tower is just 15 meters. So, and every tower have his own heat engine and his own storage. So in case of 100 megawatt project, you will see 400 towers like this. I will jump to what important to Japan. So actually we have patents are already approved. We have some patents on the way. And our concept actually was chosen in 2016 by most important solar energy concept by OSA. OSA, it's the Optical Society of America. And Japan actually looking very much for green hydrogen. This slide is coming from the presentation of Siemens. And if you want to have green hydrogen, you need 24/7 green energy. And you can see in this slide that if you want to go to a low price for the green hydrogen, you need to work at least above 5,000, 6,000, much better 8,000 hours of green hydrogen. And Luminescent know to do it. And actually, we're now working, or we're going to start to work with Toyota, which is known to transfer green hydrogen or hydrogen in a big project. And we think that Japan can be a really good, it's a really good option for green hydrogen. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, I'll be glad to answer.
Thank you, Doron. If you can podcasting. One question. First of all, congrats for winning a big competition here in Israel this week. And you've mentioned in many ways how you're relevant for the Japanese market. Any estimation of when will you have the first project already either pilot or commercial scale installed?
Yeah, actually, we are now we're going to finish the POC this end of the year, and next year we're going to start to build our first prototype. The first prototype is going to be in 2 years. It will take until we're going to be commercial, a full commercial project. 2 years. We're going to build it together with the minister or the German Minister of Economy, just for green hydrogen. And so in 2 years, we're going to be fully commercial.
Sounds exciting. Thank you very much for joining. Following Doron, it's a pleasure to introduce. I made sure it's correct to introduce him like that. So Kaz, the VP of Business Development of Trading Energy. So it's a pleasure to be here, to have you with us. Feel free to share your screen and give her a pitch.
All right, thank you very much for introducing Ishel. I will share my slide. Sorry, please. Can you see the slide? Can you see?
Yep, Kaz, all good. We could see it all.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'm Kazuhiro Iguchi of Sharing Energy in Japanese energy tech startup. I will introduce our company's business. First of all, in our world today, energy is created in centralized power system where energy is distributed to each household. However, we believe that this model is outdated and has much weaknesses like global warming, blackout risk, and inefficient. And as Daniel said, we believe the future of energy is in decentralized power system. Consumers have PV and battery system, and they can make and use renewable energy by themselves. But why don't you have PV or storage battery system in your home or house? Or why it has not yet widespread? Because the initial cost is very expensive. And this is the problem that we would like to solve. We have a solution, it's Sharedenki. Sharedenki is a solution for mainly household owners who want to install PV system to create and consume their own renewable energy at an affordable price. And this is how we make the model work. We own PV system and set them on the rooftop of consumer houses. We have two revenue streams. First is charge for self-consumption, and like this self-consumption, and this is service fee. And the second is for surplus energy using feed-in tariff. Many countries have each energy policy, and this is our accomplishment. We have more than 1,000 contracts and 250 partner companies for 2 years. And this last slide, it's our future ecosystem of renewable energy. We provide PV system and solar storage system for our users. And we will collaborate, control the company who has the technology of control technology and the utility company. And we have collaborated with PowerEdge, it's a blockchain development company in Australia. And we have been doing POC of peer-to-peer energy trading. All right, thank you very much.
Hey, Kaz, thank you very much. A quick question here, actually 2 questions. It's great to see that you collaborate with a lot of exciting companies. PowerEdge is famous for offering a blockchain solution that allows us to trade energy and using tokens to verify those transactions. What I wanted to ask you is, do you need specific kind of metering or change in regulation in order to make your business model more profitable?
Now we don't need to change the law. We will commercialize the project peer-to-peer energy trading using to analyze the smart meter, and the utility company will buy the surplus energy, and they will sell the energy to consumers. It's we don't need to change the law, but it's like virtual peer-to-peer energy trading. But if we want to do real peer-to-peer energy trading, real means there doesn't exist utility company, just consumer and prosumer peer-to-peer, not middleman. So we need to change the law, but maybe we will change the law, and we are talking to the topics with Japanese energy community.
Perfect. I bet that scaling to other countries will be also a challenge, but if you'll succeed, it will definitely change the way we trade and use energy. And we hope to see you one day in Israel. There are several exciting startups that maybe you can collaborate with that are doing similar things in microgrids. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining, and good luck.
Yes, thank you. I hope.
Coming next is Nissan. He's the CEO of the company Make My Day. Nissan, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Hi, everyone. Let me share my screen for a second. So I believe you will see my screen. So my name is Nissan from Tel Aviv, and it's funny, but I believe that Nissan brings smile on the faces of the people that are coming from Japan. It was funny when I arrived for a meeting in Nissan headquarters in Tokyo, and the girl in the front desk didn't understand that Nissan is coming to meet Nissan managers. But anyway, let's talk about Make My Day. So what we're doing in Make My Day, we help electric vehicle drivers and electric vehicle fleets to charge the vehicles in a most simple and efficient way. We're talking about the most growing market in the automotive and also in the energy industry today, when the numbers I'm talking about that around 30 to 40% of the selling vehicles in some countries today and in a few years in all over Europe and in the world will be electric. So what we're doing in Make My Day, we develop an EV charging optimization, both for the drivers and the fleets that work in a B2B SaaS model. Today, people that are buying electric vehicles are the people that usually have like a parking garage and a parking charging station next to them. So in the house, so they can actually charge it in the night and start the day with 100%. But what about people that don't have a private garage and charging? So they start the day with 20 or 30% of the EV. and they need to think about when and where to charge the vehicle, to plan the whole day, if the battery will be good enough for make all destinations, and the long time of waiting in the charging station, it's a problem. So there are still a lot of problems regarding the charging of electric vehicles. And if you talk about fleets, then these problems is actually double it with not for one vehicle, but with thousands of vehicles. But we see today a trend of many big corporate fleets that shifting to electric vehicles, because in order to reduce the CO2 emissions and also to reduce cost, because electric vehicle is much more cheaper than expensive than a gasoline. And if you double it with thousands of vehicles, it's a huge cost reduction for the fleets. But they're not really prepared to do that. They don't have the tools to do that. And this is what exactly Make My Day is doing. Make My Day using a very unique data about what is the customer, what is the driver's needs and the agenda for the whole day. So we are connecting to the driver calendar, we are connecting to the fleet management software system, we are connecting to the CRM of the fleet, understanding what is the needs of the fleet and the driver. Then we are connecting in real time to the vehicles, getting the battery status in real time, and connecting to the charging station networks in the local area of the drivers and the fleet. And we take all this data, and by using a very unique algorithm and technology, we can actually bring back and provide full solution for the fleets and for the drivers. So for example, if you're a driver, we can tell you exactly when to charge the vehicle. We can book for you the charging station exactly for the time you will arrive. We'll tell you how much you need to charge. You don't need to charge 100%. You can charge 30% and then spend less money and time in the charging station. So actually, with Make My Day, you don't need to think anymore about anything that regarding the charging and the battery. And for fleets, we provide it not only for the drivers, we provide it also for the fleet managers. So let's talk about how we make money. The business model is a B2B. We're working directly with energy companies, with automotive companies, with fleets that operate charging stations and operate lots of vehicles. I can share with you some of the projects we are doing in Europe. We are working with Enel. Enel is one of the biggest energy company in Europe. They operate around 50,000 of charging stations, and they're using Make My Day technology to the end users, the EV drivers. We are working with Centrica. Centrica is another energy company that have the second biggest fleet in the UK, and they're also using Make My Day technology and tools in order to manage the EV fleet in a most efficient way. We actually provide our customers a net positive ROI of $40 per month per vehicle, and if you double it with 15,000 vehicles like Centrica, it's a huge amount of money we can save for our customers. Talking about Make My Day as a startup, so we will have revenues of around 1.2 million next year with the customers that we're already working, and we expect it to grow, of course, in the next few years. If you talk about the market and the competition today, so Make My Day have a huge advantage because we have a huge technology and algorithm, and also a really great point of view of data that we are using. The company is still young. We are 6 people in the team. We are 2 founders with 20 years of experience, both in business and in technology. And actually, if I need to summarize everything in 2 sentences, so we have a working product in one of the most, I think, growing market today. We're already working with great big corporates, customers, and actually these days we're looking to make a fundraising in order to approach more geographic places like the US and like Japan. And I hope we will cooperate together. So thank you very much, and please make my day.
Nissan, thank you so much for this presentation. A quick question from our end. What do you think a collaboration with Japanese entity will look like? If you can have 1 or 2 ideas quickly.
Yes, actually the use cases that we are doing in Europe, it's the same use cases we can do in Japan. We can operate with energy companies that operate charging stations or connecting to big fleets that need charging stations. we can integrate our solution and technology into their own existing solution that they're already using in another layer, and help them to give their B2B customers the benefits of Make My Day, and help them to save time and money. So one use case, it's charging network of charging station, but it can be also OEMs that we can integrate into the infotainment system inside the vehicles. As I mentioned, big fleets and more and more.
Okay, perfect. So if people think they can find some great synergies, you can send Nissan a direct message on the platform. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
And last but not least, Eviatar Tron from Thermothera. He'll be our last speech for the day, and then we'll move to the networking session. Eviatar, it's a pleasure to have you with us. I think we can now say good afternoon. You're in Israel as well.
Almost. Thank you, everyone, for having me, and thank you for all the great startups before me. Nissan didn't mention that his partner's name is actually the old name for Israel, so it's a great Japanese-Israeli combination in Make My Day. Okay, I'm Eviatar from Thermothera, and I'm here to tell you about humidity power. So you all know renewable energy sources such as wind, solar, and geothermal. There is another source that is less tapped into, that we are not less accustomed to thinking of, and that is the natural fluctuations of humidity in the air. So we take that potential and use it for heating and cooling of buildings, but of other applications as well. And really, the applications for heating and cooling are enormous. They range from cars, EV or other, greenhouses, logistics, etc., etc. But why buildings? Why are we going for buildings? Well, 30% of world energy is consumed by building just for operation, and half of that is heating and cooling. So we're talking about 15% of global energy consumption used for heating and cooling of buildings. This is a huge impact waiting to be addressed. What do we do about it? Well, the physics are quite straightforward. We all sweat to cool ourselves. How does sweating cool? Water leave our body, leave our skin, evaporate, taking heat away with them. This is called evaporating cooling. There is an opposite effect called absorption heating. Some of you may have encountered that when you mixed cement with water to get concrete. Heat is radiated outside. So there's an effect of evaporating of water. There's an effect of absorption of water, creating cooling and heating. But we don't use running water. We use water that exists as humidity in the air, as a source for heating and for cooling. Now, these fluctuations of humidity, they are daily, they are seasonal, they depend on the weather, but with smart control, we can use them. Here's an example of how we do that in a wall of a building. Say we have an air cavity in the wall. There are many types of construction techniques where an air cavity exists. In that air cavity, we put an absorption material. There are many such absorption materials that can be used, including from the construction industry. We have actually used existing materials used for insulation and increased their absorption using our techniques. And we blow air on them in the right time with the right air conditions to get an effect, either heating or cooling or storing, creating a potential in that material. So here are a few examples of how we can use that. Say, for example, during the day when humidity is low, we blow dry air over a material that is soaked with water. Again, it is absorbent, so it's not water running, it's water in a chemical bond in the material. But those water evaporate, and just like sweating, create a cool effect on the wall of the building. Using nighttime humid air, which we blow in the same direction, we can create absorption heating and heat the wall of the building. Or if we want to cool during the night, we can just reverse the flow of air and create cooling on the wall. This is like the tip of the iceberg of what we can do with control of humidity power. We are going to work with with facade makers and distributors. We're going to use existing channels in the construction industry to coat both existing and renovated building in our materials and create a huge saving in energy. We've been cooperating with construction companies both in Israel and actually in Japan as well, in the US and in Austria. And up until now, we have we won a few awards both in the climate and energy part and both in the real estate part, and we've participated in many programs, including in Israel and in Europe and Latin America. I mentioned that earlier, but heating and cooling actually have many, many different applications. Here's a map of our technology impact, really ranging to all sorts of applications, including an app to humidity as part of thermal comfort, and that creates well-being and better productivity in office space or today in COVID in our homes. So we are now working on the first level of products, smart walls and smart windows and smart buildings. We will be working on humidity control and smart controllers in the future. I'd be very happy to hear from you. Japan is a great market for us. We have tested the humidity levels in Japan and have seen nice fluctuations. Of course, for us, it seems like humidity is always high, but even in that high, there's fluctuations. And it will be very interesting to work with Japanese companies on solving the energy problems for heating and cooling of buildings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aviatar, very much. A quick last question before we're going to wrap up this event. Okay, he left, so that's okay. If we can add one of our partners, Mr. Zev Weiss from the Israeli-Japan Chamber of Commerce. If you're here, it would be really great to hear from you and how can companies on both ends can basically collaborate with you. And if perfect. Hi, Zev.
Hi. Can
we can hear you, but we cannot see you.
Yes. Hold on. Hold on for a second, just a minute.
I think while Zev is fixing his camera, I think it's a really good opportunity to ask all of the participants. If you have questions, either for the panelists or for the startups, feel free to send them direct messages. What we're going to do after in the next 25 minutes is to start the networking session, which is on the left of your screen, which will be a random one. Zev, are you with us?
Yeah. Eshel, maybe you know what, you'll I'll spare you my image and you will only hear my voice.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
So it's a pleasure, of course, to be with you, and thank you very much for this interesting webinar. Look, from my perspective, and I've been working as a Bengoshi, as a lawyer with Japan for the last 25 years. I, of course, see the amazing growth in the collaboration between Japanese companies and Israeli companies. But while we saw the the Japanese companies looking at the Israeli ecosystem, what we were missing is the Japanese giant energy companies coming to Israel to do not only to collaborate in technology, but also to do infrastructure water projects, oil and gas projects, electricity chains, all these kind of things which we would like to see the Japanese giants taking their place in Israel. The reason it did not happen was that to a big extent the concern of the big Japanese energy giants, because they had tremendous or big projects in the Arab countries around us, and there was a concern for them to work with Israel. Now, this has changed dramatically in the last few months, because just I assume everybody knows, in the last 2 months we have Israel signed a peace treaty with the United Emirates and with Bahrain and with Sudan, and this means that the so-called concern of the Japanese companies should evaporate. And we really did just this week a webinar between Israeli companies and Japanese companies who are in UAE and Bahrain, to encourage them to come to Israel and do projects, of course, as I said, infrastructure and other, but this will lead, of course, to more extensive projects in technology. So,
we definitely look forward for that, and I think that if anyone who's a representative for such a corporate should contact the Chamber of Commerce, and obviously have a lot of focus of energy innovation as well, I guess, right?
Of course, Eshel, we at the Chamber, we can help the Japanese energy companies both finding the technology and finding the big tenders and help them participate in the Israeli energy market.
Great. Thank you so much, Zev. I would like to ask Cody and Amanda to join me for a final keynote. Hi, Cody. Hey, Amanda. So we are finishing. It's definitely the last keynote. I think it's a pleasure to wrap up this event after, I think, months of work. And it's exciting to know that there are other entities which are doing this 100% voluntarily, both on the Japanese and on the Israeli side. And if COVID has done tremendous disruption to our world, I don't think that an event like this could have been possible in a normal era that we can travel and meet. So my biggest inspiration is that the connections that we're making right now will be actually the infrastructure for any interesting collaboration or even joint companies that eventually will be somehow created out of those connections.
Amanda, any final words before I get into the what to do next about Hop-In?
Yeah, I would just like to reemphasize what Eshel just said about connections. So I'd like to, ask everyone to really get in touch and network, because I think that is really where the innovation happens, or the potential for innovation happens. Because what we're trying to do is set up a platform for everyone to kind of gain some knowledge about what's happening around the world in energy innovation, and then get in touch, whether you're a student or a startup or a researcher or work in a company or a government official. We're really trying to promote that diversity and connection. So yeah, if anyone is interested in getting in touch with either Energy Tech Meetup or Ignite the Spark, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so 100%. Much, and thank you, Ignite the Spark.
Thank you, Energy Tech Meetup. So, what are the next steps as we talk about this bridging the energy innovation gap and adapting in these COVID times? We have this amazing platform Hop-In. If you look to the left, it says networking is now live. Before you go and click, let me give you a little warning on it and give you a little idea. So when you enter networking, There's 69 of you that are still online right now, which is amazing. So you basically will just click saying that you're ready to network, and then you will be paired up randomly with another individual for a total of 4 minutes. So 2 minutes each to kind of give your elevator pitches, get to know each other. If you already know each other, then you can make it short and leave, and then just go on to the next one and next one and next one. So we want you to continue the dialogue and conversation. If you find these to be really suitable dialogues and conversations, again, find those people in that all the way right tab, people, so then you could reconnect with them with their LinkedIn, their Twitters, send them a direct message. You can continue the conversation in longer form by inviting them to a video chat as well. And then on top of that, most of the speakers and then the panelists today, they have expo booths. So with their expo booths, they could have Google Slides there, they could have a YouTube video, they'll have information on their website, a little about, you could register interest with them. And when you register interest with them, they get a direct email saying, hey, Cody's interested in your company, and then they'll be able to reach out to you. As I've mentioned, this platform is going to stay open for 2 days and 22 hours and 25 minutes. We don't expect you all to be networking the whole time, but it gives you plenty of time to check out everyone's expo booths and also go and find other people so you can make those connections in this obviously difficult time to travel and make those face-to-face interactions. So I want to invite you all to go ahead and switch over to the networking phase. I want to thank you all for joining. This has been an amazing event, and we look forward to continuing the relationship between Japan and Israel with all our partners, and hopefully some great connections come out of this event.
Thanks again for all of the speakers. Thank you, Amanda, for hosting the panel. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Let's start the networking. Goodbye.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.